Hey guys, welcome to this reaction video, and in this video we're going to be reacting to more of Abbew because the last video, the comments section went crazy and there's so much misinformation. People got quite emotional and took things quite personally. So here I'm going to be debunking even more of his videos because that seemed like it caused a bit of an uproar, and there's more things I want to debunk. So I chose some random videos and let's get straight to it.
The one who wrote an article about me in the Daily Mail claiming to be a dietitian. Daily Mail, if you're trying to get somebody to debunk what I'm saying, get someone who looks healthy.
So let's start off with that. So health does not dictate knowledge, and you can look healthy, but you can have very disordered eating patterns. Your mental health could be completely down to the floor. Many bodybuilders nowadays, or even back then in the past, they had extremely poor mental health. Anabolic steroids can negatively affect your mental health if you're performing at a top level bodybuilding show. And people say like, oh, I want to look like him, I want to look like her, she looks amazing. But you never know what their mental health is looking like. Just because you have a great body doesn't mean they're very confident with themselves. Body dysmorphia is a really big thing. Body dysmorphia is where you feel like you can never be big enough or never be thin enough. Once you start going to the gym, there's a saying that you'll never be big enough.
I'm sorry to say that. I'm saying that your mental health, a lot of it is coming from your gut. And if you don't believe me, look at my testimonials. Do more research. You're too stupid. They brainwash you with bullshit. I'm telling you, there are so many people who are healing their mental health by changing their diets. Catherine Collins says, this claim concerns me. Catherine Collins asked my hundreds of people who've listened to my advice and they've healed themselves. I had panic attacks, I had depression, I had anxiety. I got rid of it by changing my diet.
So there's a bit of selection bias here, because whilst he has like millions of followers around his social media followings, the people who don't have beneficial effects or will like report negative effects or have disordered eating or eating disorders out of his diet wouldn't actually like speak up. They just often just move to the next influencer or move somewhere else to another healthcare professional. So there's a bit of selection bias, and if you just comment something going against Abbew, tons of zealots are going to be attacking you, and that actually essentially happened with my previous video, and I actually loved it. I love people challenging me. There's a difference between challenging educationally and essentially just attacking people for no reason. I got comments in my previous video saying like, oh, you're a soy boy and all those kinds of things. I find it quite funny, so keep them coming because I'm here to educate people intellectually on evidence-based research. Same thing with Catherine Collins. So Catherine Collins here is doing an amazing job. You don't have to like bully her essentially. I know many dietitians have been trying to like report this video for bullying, because if you're like looking for mental health, it's very ironic that he's trying to like promote mental health, but he's swearing and bullying Catherine Collins, so it's a bit of a double standard here.
Typical healthy breakfast. The reason why you say that is because you eat that and that's why you don't look healthy. If you eat shit like this, snap out of it. Get up in the morning, Catherine Collins, and eat a avocado and some eggs and see how good you'll feel. You shouldn't be talking about health if you don't look healthy. Toast this shit. The bread we've got in our shops, it's not food. Cereal. What the is wrong with you? How the can you tell people cereal? Porridge. Look at the porridge that people eat. You can get your fiber from cruciferous vegetables. Don't get your fiber from this shit. You're giving people the wrong information. You've been fed with. You are stupid, and I'll say it with confidence. Wake the up.
So he's really like getting quite triggered, and he's really building up a sweat here that people are really like enjoying him swearing and being quite passionate about these kinds of things, and that's what actually like is really like getting people to follow him. Unfortunately, in the internet, if you want people to follow you, just say whatever you want, but say it with extreme passion, and then people are going to cling on to that. Because at the end of the day, people jump onto the internet not just for information, but just for entertainment as well.
Control insulin and lose body fat. Number one, skip breakfast. Think about it. Our ancestors were hunter-gatherers. Imagine getting up in the morning and jumping on the porridge.
But if you think about it, our average life expectancy of our ancestors was 20 to 25 years old. So I think it's not a fair comparison to use over there.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's a load of bollocks. Don't do that. Get up in the morning, don't eat anything. I eat my first meal at about 12, 1 o'clock after I've trained. When you get up in the morning, your liver releases energy. You've got a lot of energy. The last thing you want to do is just jump on the sugar. As soon as you put the porridge in like I used to, your insulin level goes up, and then I'll start feeling tired. So skip breakfast and you see.
If anything, porridge is very beneficial for your health because it contains beta-glucans, which are soluble fibers, which can reduce your HbA1c long term. It can reduce your blood pressure and reduce your cholesterol levels.
Number 2, reduce your meal frequency. Every time you eat, your body has to release insulin to deal with the food. It doesn't matter what type of food you eat, so make sure that you're eating less. The less meals you eat, the less insulin comes into your system. Most of the reason why you actually gain body fat is because there's too much insulin in your body. All my clients who are trying to lose body fat, 2 meals a day, some of them have 1 meal a day.
So there's nothing special about skipping meals and insulin. At the end of the day, it's calories in, calories out. And sure, there's not exactly to the T about calories in, calories out, because a calorie is not a calorie. But the reason people are losing weight is because they're in a calorie deficit, not because they're spiking their insulin. So if I ate a chair right now and that would put me in a caloric surplus, whatever happens to my insulin, it's still gonna help me gain weight because I ate a chair and I'm gonna be in a caloric surplus. If I ate paper and I'm in a caloric deficit, whatever happens to my insulin, peaks or troughs, up and down, I'm still going to lose weight because I'm in a caloric deficit. If I have 100 meals a day, if I'm in a caloric surplus, I'm gonna gain weight. It doesn't matter if I eat 20 meals a day or 1 meal a day, I'm still gonna gain weight or lose weight depending on if I'm in a surplus or a deficit. At the end of the day, people lose weight because of less meals, because you're having less food overall in one go and you're having more time just not eating. That's as simple as it gets.
3, eat predominantly low glycemic food. Every food is compared to glucose in terms of how quickly that food raises your blood sugar and raises your insulin level. So you want foods that raise your blood sugar very slowly. Foods that have a lot of fiber. When you eat things like bagel, straight away raise your blood sugar. I put a glucose monitor on. The food that raised my blood sugar the highest was plain white rice. Biscuits didn't do that to me. White rice was the highest. So guys, low glycemic foods.
I completely agree with him there, in the way that you should try to focus on low glycemic foods, try to focus on foods that have more fiber. But unfortunately, I was hoping he wasn't going to mention it. He uses glucose monitors. So having glucose monitor will actually cause more stress mentally than not having a glucose monitor, because we could focus on our blood sugars going up and down. But if you don't have diabetes, you don't have to worry about insulin. They say raised blood sugars is inflammatory, which is true if it stays up for a really long time. That's called hyperglycemia, and you'll only have that if you have diabetes or uncontrolled type 1 diabetes. But if we don't have diabetes and normal function in insulin and a pancreas, then it'll always go down. That doesn't have any effect. It doesn't have any inflammatory effect in the short term. So, and yes, certain foods like bagels are high in the glycemic index, and white rice, it's high in glycemic index, but that doesn't really matter. We don't eat plain white rice on its own, or we don't eat just a plain bagel on its own. We have something with it. So this is where we need to focus on what's called focusing on the glycemic load. So the glycemic load takes into account a number of factors. So if you were to have plain white rice on its own, then your blood sugars would shoot up and then eventually go down. But if you were to have plain white rice with curry sauce, for example, which is quite high in fat, and chicken breast, for example, which is high in protein, then the glycemic load overall would be much less. So it will just probably go up here and then down. It won't be really high and really down, because the protein delays gastric emptying, which slows things down. Fats also delay gastric emptying, which means it slows the absorption of overall blood sugars down. So when people have diabetes or pre-diabetes, there's this thing called food pairing. Rather than having like just a plain bagel, try to pair it with things which are high in protein, high in fiber, things that contain healthy fats ideally. So this idea of glycemic index, it's very outdated. We need to focus on glycemic load and food pairing.
If you want to eat fruits, eat the berries. If you're trying to lose body fat, don't eat fruit.
So I don't really know what he was trying to say there, if I heard that right. So if you're trying to lose body fat, don't eat fruit, because there are lots of systematic reviews and meta-analysis, which are the gold standard of studies, which we should look to, showing that fruit consumption will actually lead to lower body weights.
Do you eat shit like this?
I mean, now and again I'll have the odd bagel, yeah. Very rarely.
You know it's shit, don't you?
I mean, it's all right. I mean, it's bread, isn't it?
That's my reaction. It's alright. It's bread in it.
Read the ingredients.
Okay, yeah, we've got wheat, calcium carbonate,
How many
niacin.
ingredients in it?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can't count. Over 15.
Bread's supposed to have 4 ingredients in it.
Well, it's got those 4 ingredients in somewhere.
So I know this is all laughs and giggles, because I'm sure Eddie Hall, one of the world's strongest men, knows he can see through like this is all just a joke, over obsessing about food ingredients. Because Calcium carbonate is fortified calcium because many people don't have much calcium in their diets. And then niacin is a B vitamin, which is fortified with that. Because we can't simplify that less ingredients means more healthy. Another example is if we look to organic oat milk or organic almond milk. Organic, we think, oh, that's really, really healthy, organic. But that just means it's almond in water for almond milk or oats in water for oat milk. It means organic, means it's not tampered with. There's no added vitamins or minerals added to it.
Sugar, color, and sometimes cartoon characters. That's how they get your kids. They get your kids' attention. It's all brainwashing, subliminal. Guys, don't bring your kids through this aisle. The kids can't resist it. You targeted at them, guys. That's not good for them. It stops them from learning. It stops them from growing properly as well. Please.
So this video, I agree with Eddie here. The reason why they have like characters and it's lots of colors for cereals is to target kids. And every now and then it's alright to have cereal for kids. I really look forward to cereal. But if you have restrictions, then kids are going to crave it even more. So it's a fine balance. I'm not the best with parenting. I'm not a parent. And if we could just try to focus more on like oats or things that are higher in fiber, because kids even benefit from high fiber. It can contribute to improving their metabolic health, their gut health, which is really important during these formative stages. Long story short, I agree with Eddie here. Try to reduce the cereals, the highly processed, high sugar cereals. So I agree with you there, Eddie.
The people who don't understand my message, they think that I'm trying to be a saint. Listen, I was a professional bodybuilder for decades. Do you think I'm a saint? Once you open the door to steroids, every thing comes in. Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. When I was younger, they told us how bad tobacco was. There was advertising everywhere. We knew tobacco was bad. Ecstasy. This girl died and every where you went, pictures of how bad ecstasy was. Alcohol. We knew alcohol was bad for us. Tobacco. They were saying, oh, nicotine is a weed. All this advertising. They told us. So we knew. If I decide to smoke a spliff, or smoke a cigarette, I know how bad it is for me because it's been drummed into my head. Now, why are they not drumming into our heads about all these things that are wrong with our food that we eat? When I was younger, they were being told 1 in 6 of us will get cancer. Now it's 1 in 2 of us. Whenever you hear somebody's got cancer, you hear somebody will always say, oh yeah, they never drank, they never smoked. What the is causing the cancer then?
So there's a little bit of a bias over there with the numbers. So back then, 1 in 6 people will get cancer or recognized to get cancer. Nowadays, it's 1 in 2. The reason why is because there have been advancements in cancer detecting strategies and people able to treat cancer. So 1 in 2 people will get cancer. That's true nowadays, but we're able to treat many, many more cancers and people will be able to be cancer-free. Nowadays, we also have like websites where if you're getting any weird symptoms like bloody stools or really bad abdominal pain, then we can like easily chat to our doctors or online, or we can like, there are lots of forums online of people sharing their experiences. There's much more awareness, much more detection, which is why 1 in 2 people will get cancer, but they'll also be hopefully cured of the cancer.
They are lying to us about food. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm telling you that you should know the truth about the food that you're eating. If you decide to go and have a spliff, it's entirely up to you. But you know the dangers. You should know the dangers of they're selling in the supermarkets, but they're not doing that. So
I completely agree with Eddie over here. So it's important to make informed, knowledgeable choices. So people, I know people nowadays, they just drink Pepsi, Coke, soda drinks as if it's water. They don't drink water, they just drink soda drinks because they thought it's completely fine for them. They had parents who were drinking it like breakfast, lunch and dinner. They didn't drink any water, so they thought that was the norm. But we need to like educate people. We need to help them make informed choices. As long as people make informed choices and they know the risks, then it's up to them to do whatever they want with their health.
They're giving us all this false information, all this marketing, and that's why 1 in 2 of us get cancer. Guys, cook for yourself. Guys, wake the up.
I like how he says his catchphrase at the end. So yeah, I completely agree. Like cooking for yourself is a key skill, which back then in the past, many men are learning how to cook because it's a skill. Back then, people were just expecting their wives to cook. So Long story short, I agree with a few things Eddie has mentioned. Maybe the delivery and some things have got mixed along with insulin and bro science. Essentially, he's just promoting bro science and a keto diet / carnivore diet. But at the end of the day, I'm sure he has great intentions. He's trying to help people, but the delivery is really important because this could lead to orthorexic behaviors. It could lead to orthorexia, people obsessing about the tiniest things, their blood sugar peaks and their blood sugar drops, and then counting every calorie to the gram, focusing too much on red meat only and having very poor fruit and veg intake will actually increase your risk of colon cancer. There have been many rising news articles about the rise of colon cancer in teenagers, people who are 18 to 30, because I don't want to say anything, but one of the major risk factors could be people jumping onto these carnivore diets and avoiding things like oatmeal, avoiding fruits and vegetables because of social media. So don't believe everything you see on social media. I have a friend who said, I believe everything Eddie Abbew says because he looks good. And sure, he does look fairly like muscular for his age, but you have to take into account that he used anabolic steroids. He was a professional bodybuilder. And when you rely on steroids too much, your testosterone drops below baseline for the rest of your life, and then you have to be on supplementary testosterone replacement therapy. And when you're on testosterone replacement therapy, you tend to get, like as 50-year-olds or 40-year-olds, more muscle mass because you have to be a little bit above baseline after being so low that your testosterone levels are below baseline and you can't like fix it anymore unless you supplement it. So yes, he works out really hard and has a very high protein diet. But what I'm trying to say is try not to rely on people just because they look good. You never know what their mental health is like. So after seeing Eddie Abbew scream and shout in almost all of his videos, I do have concerns for his mental health. Jokes aside, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and check out this video over here on my previous reaction about Eddie Abbew, and comment below if there's any videos you want me to react and help try to debunk. So before I end this video, I want to let you know that I'm a dietitian that supports people who are struggling with binge eating, and if you feel like because of all of this going on in social media, confusion and these restrictive diets causing you to binge eat and overeat and emotionally eat, then check the link in the description below where I can just offer you some advice and online courses and webinars which are all for free to help you overcome binge eating. And I'll see you in the next video. See ya!